is the 77 WABC minicast.
It's a WABC special presentation. Governor Andrew Cuomo taking the pulse of the people, taking your calls. 800-848-9222. Now, here's Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Welcome back. There was a lot of Cuomo family drama this week, a lot of concern because my brother Christopher went to the Middle East to cover this story. Obviously, people were worried. It's a very dangerous time to be there. But he went there anyway. And even though my mother was upset and his wife was upset and my sisters were upset and worried about him, I respect that he did it. I truly do. Because you do what you need to do in the job. And that's what I always did. And that's what our father taught us, and that's what he did. You want to cover the story? Go cover the story. And the story's in the Middle East. And his reporting has been extraordinary. Chris, what did you see there from that perspective that we don't appreciate here?
Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it. Everybody's happy. Everybody's hearing me okay? Is that all right? Yes, okay. Everybody's hearing you. Okay. I'll tell you where you don't want to be right now is Lebanon. I heard your interview with Mr. Siegel. Very good. The concerns aren't just what we're going to see here. The Jews are in for a rough patch because what's going on with Lebanon is bloody, intense, and it's going to be a long time. America has given them the go-ahead. And you can argue whether they need it or not, whether they ask for it or not, whether America should or not. All those are fine arguments and questions to ask and forced to be answered. But it's happening. And this, they believe, is their window to get rid of Hezbollah, which for you guys, largest terror organization in the region, probably in the world, main proxy of Iran, was supposed to be disarming. America was overseeing as liaison between Israel, the IDF, and the Lebanese government and Hezbollah, that for the last 8 months, it's over now, because as soon as the campaign started in Iran, Hezbollah started lobbing rockets. We were at the northernmost point of Israel, right on the border with Lebanon. It's Lebanon on three sides. There's a weird little peninsula at the top of Israel that is surrounded on all sides by 270 degrees by other countries, and highly kinetic, hundreds of salvos coming from Hezbollah. Two key distinctions militarily that matter. Last time Israel evacuated the area. This time they will not. They put their defensive positions in front of their area inside the Lebanese border. They say they'll leave once it's over. It took 12 years last time they said that for them to leave. Last time Hezbollah ran away. This time they are running to the border, and they are bringing fighters from other parts of Lebanon down south. This is bloody. They are insinuating themselves, invading, the IDF would say, insinuating themselves, Hezbollah would say, into Christian communities. You know, Lebanon has a lot of different Christian communities, especially along the southern border. That creates a real problem. They're doing it on purpose because, just like we saw in Gaza, just like we see in Tehran, they hide amongst civilians and innocents and dare you to hit them. The IDF is up to taking the dare, and they have hit sensitive locations, just like in all likelihood the United States did in Tehran, and that causes a lot of reverberations. And I think that the narrative is going to be here even more so, because Iran's going to die down. Lebanon's going to become the focus. America's going to be involved, at least politically. And they're going to have to own the duration and the pain of what's happening in Lebanon. And it is more than anybody has seen there since the war in, let's say, 2006. It's going to be a problem. And it's going to be a political problem. And it's going to be a hard time for the Jews because they're going to be blamed for all of it.
Can you ever really win here? Or are we just inciting the next generation?
Pop would say, no, you can't win. You can't do it this way. And I understand why he thinks that. I'm not sure. I probably don't understand well enough to figure out better outcomes. I always think it's unfair to challenge the media by saying, well, what would you do? I mean, what would I do? If you're asking me what I would do, now, you're not you, Andrew. I'm not talking about you, but that's happening in our dialogue right now. Look, you can't do regime change remotely. Okay? You're not going to bomb your way into regime change. And you can be really strategic. You can be really destructive, but it's got to happen on the ground. I'm not advocating for that, certainly where the United States is involved. But do you win? You only win when you change the idea. So the only way you win is by having a different regime that promotes a different agenda within that locality. Let's say Lebanon, if they can get rid of Hezbollah, in more specifically in Iran, because the Persian people, as you know, and you've spoken about a lot, this is not organic to Iran, what's happening there. These people are outsiders. They came in after the Shah from other countries, the Ayatollahs, and Iran has a good chance, if it can throw this regime out, to have something better and different, because it had something very different and better before this and the Shah. But I don't think you can just win militarily, no, and I don't think America wins at all in this situation.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I am shocked pleasantly that there have been fewer terrorist attacks than I thought there would have been. We had the incident in Gracie Mansion, which were actually Americans who were radicalized. I don't know if there's just a delayed response, but it's something. When I was governor, every night I had this on the top of my mind. I would work with the JTTF, the Joint Terrorism Task Force. New York City is so vulnerable in so many ways. Mm-hmm. One person in a subway with a bomb under a river. I mean, we saw 9/11, obviously. God rest their souls. I am surprised there hasn't been more. And I'm wondering if there's just a delay, and that no matter however it ends, there will be repercussions. There will be a bill to pay that hasn't come due yet.
I certainly wouldn't be surprised. We've had 2 a week, which is a lot. We've gotten very good, and I shouldn't jinx this, but the fact that it doesn't happen all the time here is amazing to a lot of people in the intelligence world. They've gotten very good at this, but they also know that they're at a huge disadvantage. Look, this guy in Michigan, they got very, very lucky. The explosives that were in that vehicle, if they had gone up, that would have been a catastrophic, never forgotten for the Jewish community loss of life in that synagogue. But it didn't. Good. Turns out, now, I'll tell you got to be careful about narratives. And to my point about this being a bad stretch for the Jews, the narrative that came out of that immediately was this jackass did whatever he did, but he did it, Andrew, because his family had just been killed in Lebanon. Now, what's the narrative? Bad Israel. You're kicking the hornet's nest. It's going to reverberate back here. Bad Israel. That's the narrative.
Bad Israel, bad America. Bad America, bad Israel. Death to America, death to Israel.
Well, there's no question that the bad guys hate us both equally. You could even argue it's not equal. Most terrorists that I talk to who are jihadis, they hate us because of our support of the Jews. And there are other reasons also. But, they have a real myopic focus when it comes to their hatred in that region. And everything else is somewhat ancillary for them. But America's made a good bid to be their main enemy. And I think they should see us that way, because I think America will be what ends the jihadi movement in that part of the world before it gets here. However, that was the initial narrative. That narrative is unfair and untrue. Okay? That guy's brother is in Hezbollah. And he was one of the main combatants, is what our intelligence and Israeli intelligence is saying. What a different narrative. He did it, but they had just killed his family. Or he did it and his brother is attacking in Lebanon for Hezbollah. Yeah. See, The narrative is teed up to be Israel bad, and I think they're going to be into a bad stretch because I think Lebanon is going to take much longer than what happens in Iran, by the way.
Yeah, but I think we're in the same boat. Shimon Peres, who I wish you got a chance to meet, but I did a lot of work with him. He was the statesman of all time in Israel, in my opinion. Just a beautiful, visionary leader. He called me over on one of my visits to show me the tunnels that had been dug. Yeah. But he said to me something I'll never forget. He said, they hate us and they hate you. They want us dead and they want you dead. The only difference is they're in our backyard.
Right.
And there's an ocean between you and them, but they will come for you as they're coming for us.
Right.
I believe it, and I'm afraid, New York City, great, Los Angeles, urban densities, yeah, but that's also a prime target for terrorism.
It is, but we are lucky. We're like on an island, figuratively, from this. Just in your election in New York City, we finally saw Muslims even and exceed the Jewish population. Until then, New York City was one of, maybe two places on the face of the planet where there are more Jews than Muslims. And look, what we have going for us in America until very recently, and I hope it's just an anomaly, we have a better idea here for Muslims. Muslims who come here, the reason that you don't have Islamism taking root pari passu with the Muslim population increasing is because we have a better idea. You don't have to be a religious extremist here. There are avenues to success. There are avenues to opportunity, as Pop used to say. Yeah. So we have a better idea at play here, and that is a very key component to remember. Now, I say until recently, why? Because this march of a political extremism and the fringes taking over the parties and the increase in fundamentalism, this is scary stuff. And once you start talking that talk, you start creating space for religious extremism. That would be my concern.
Yeah.
Next question.
Take it easy. I
don't have all day. You're yapping on with that Lauren Siegel. Forget. And I don't like that you have a mystery location. I don't like that your background is blurred. Yeah, you are not special, okay?
Yes, I am. I get a blurry background.
And I think your hair has too much volume. What did they do to it with the filter?
What do you mean?
You have a lot of hair.
Baby.
You have a luxurious head of hair right now.
I get a $7 haircut. I cut my own hair. I cut my own hair.
You're not a pop.
You quaff.
No,
by the way,
I don't quaff.
I have to take a break.
No, don't take a break. You already took a break.
Yes.
No more breaks.
Taking a break.
No more breaks. Katsimatidis said no breaks.
I'm bigger than you. I will
breaks.
Beat you like
You're bigger than me.
Bigger than you. Take a break.
Curse. I'll curse.
Don't curse. Tell Mom.
It's a WABC special presentation. Governor Andrew Cuomo taking the pulse of the people, taking your calls. 800-848-9222. Now, here's Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Last question. We have to talk fast. Only a few minutes, but it's important.
Wait, what?
What
do you mean last question?
We have a few minutes, and it's important, so we have to talk fast. Anyway, I believe the Strait of Hormuz, the price of oil, that is our Achilles heel in this situation. Now, they say we knew all along about the Strait of Hormuz. We knew all along this is what they did before. Of course, we knew Strait of Hormuz was a vulnerability. Yes, but even if you knew it, you didn't do anything about it. You don't have an answer. We're going to send naval ships. No, it's too dangerous to send naval ships. It's your jugular runs right along the coast of Iran. And as long as they're closing off the oil, you can't deal with it economically. And yes, they did this before. Yes, everybody knew about it.
Is there a question in this anywhere? Yeah. Is there a question?
It's like saying,
you said talk fast.
I know that he has a right hook. I'm ready for the right hook. Yeah, but then he threw the right hook in the first round and he knocked you out.
No, I don't think it's a knockout.
On the Strait of Hormuz.
I think what happened was that, this isn't a thought. Here's what I'm told, okay? That we're getting ahead of ourselves. This was something that was anticipated in every war game that they've had. What wasn't anticipated is the political appetite and the lack of messaging. So if you had, and I had the energy secretary on the other night who tried to say to my audience, yeah, we told you all this that was going to happen. No, they didn't. And that's the problem. Had they said, here's the investment that we're going to have to make, and there's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain, that would have been one scenario. They didn't do that. And the political will is not there. Not to take out the regime, not to take on terrorism. Of course, the American people are there for that. They just don't believe there's going to be regime change. The president has echoed the same. There is no will for long-term pain here. If this doesn't turn around and quickly, and releasing supplies doesn't help, because if they're going through the Strait of Hormuz, it doesn't matter how much supply you have, you can't deliver it. That's why he had to relieve the sanctions on Russia, which is a very bad look. So the clock is against the president on this. There's a noble aim. There's a real threat. But the way he did this and the way it's being messaged makes it a very close call politically.
I hate to agree with you, but I agree with you. He should have set the table. He didn't. And if that price of oil takes off because they're successful in the Strait of Hormuz and you feel it at the gas pump, you're going to see this war end quickly. They'll claim mission accomplished and it'll be over.
Well, look, he already did. And I'm telling you, it's not over with what happens in Iran. Are they playing music to get rid of me? I gotta tell you, this is really something. What's happening here.
They're done with you.
I know, I don't like it. This
the music's not playing. It's the funeral.
Matidis is a movie star now. You've got this platform with your mystery background and your big hair. I don't like any of it.
Yeah, you don't like any of it. You know when they said WABC has nothing to do with the views.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. What's that about?
For me and you.
You got Sid Rosenberg on here, and they're worried about me.
Yeah,
they're worried about me.
Yeah, well,
that guy looks like my thumb.
He does not like criticism of his physical character.
He looks like a big toe. Okay?
All right. Play the music. Play the music.
I love you, brother. I'll talk to you.
Love you, brother. Love you, love you, love you.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.